Hello there, Nick Davis here. Hello. As you can see, I am going to be basically talking about White Dwarf 225, which is October. Well, this is the American issue, so this would be September UK, October US. As I can't find the UK edition that I had in my archives. To be fair, a lot of White Dwarfs didn't travel over with me from the United Kingdom to the USA. We have to make do the 225 here, US edition, which will be slightly different to the UK edition, but I still think there's a lot of things in this book that we can basically look at and talk through and review. If I ever find the UK version of this book, I will indeed actually do a walkthrough of that as well. As you can see, this is going to be about Dogs of War. Dogs of War has been said by many of you folk out there as one of your favourite army books. And here's the Dogs of War army book just here. Cool, huh? Anyway, but fun fact about Dogs of War, it was the last army book I worked on before moving over to White Dwarf. But what we're going to do here in this video is going to be a two-parter. The first part is we're going to be talking about White Dwarf, and in the second part we are going to be talking about Dogs of War. And what I mean by two-parter, it means two separate videos, so you're not stuck here listening to me ramble for like 40 or 50 minutes about two things and getting all things like crossed over and confused. So, in this case, Dogs of War, we will be talking about in a separate video. The one I will release that sometime probably next week after I redo the walkthrough for White Dwarf 225. As you know, I have been working as a independent comic book creator for the last few years. This is one of my books here. It's the Night Guardians. It's a dark fantasy tale about four cuddly toys who protect their child from the Boogeyman. That's the Boogeyman just there. It's written in the style of the Amulet or even the Wolfwalkers. In fact, if you actually watch Labyrinth, you'll probably enjoy it as well. There's a lot of classic English dark humour in here. It is a fantasy tale for all ages, written by me, illustrated by Veronica Smith. So we're going to quick flick through all the pages here so you can quickly look what's going on. This book is available from my website, which I will put a link in my description below. So if you like my walkthroughs, like my White Dwarfs, please give my books a look at. This is the Night Guardians. It's called Awakenings. You can find it on Amazon if you're basically outside the country. Go to amazon.uk or whatever your country designation is. You'll likely find a copy of this book up on there if you search for Nick Davis on the Night Guardians, or you can go to my website and click on the link to buy it from there. Any support on this book we greatly appreciate it. We are working through a bunch of Night Guardian stories now. We've got a new one coming up called Let's Hunt Monsters, which some of you may be seeing the artwork on my Twitter feeds. Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, feeds, and with that coming up. That being said, enough of the shill. Please check out the book. I think you guys would enjoy it. Let's talk about White Dwarf, shall we? So here we go. I'm going to put the Dogs of War over here so it doesn't basically complicate the issue as well. And we're going to plonk it over here and hopefully it stays in place off my drawing board, which is at my drawing angle. This is Dogs of War. As I said before, this is the US version of the magazine. In the UK, this would be the September edition. The US was always one month behind the UK in terms of basically White Dwarf production and White Dwarf releases. That's just the way it was. So this is White Dwarf 225 October. In UK, this would be September. There will be some differences in this book compared to basically the UK version. Sadly, I'm probably not going to be able to talk to those differences too much because a lot of it's going to rely on my Swiss cheese memory, and this was a very, very long time ago. But we're talking about Dogs of War here. Dogs of War is a really cool book, so I did a lot of work on it. So here we go. So it's Dogs of War, fantastic cover. I absolutely love this cover here because it's fantastic. It's beautiful. Mobiles for Wardham City of the Damned, Orc, Lizardmen and Beastmen Castles, Dungeon Bowl rules, Warhammer Dogs of War versus Beastmen Battle Report, rules for playing spaceship battles, and bucket loads of brand new Citadel miniatures. So let's turn the page and see what we've got in here. Okay, here we go. Now I said this basically is the US edition, so there will be some differences as we go through. But if you actually open the contents here, you can probably not see too many differences between the two regional books. Let's see if we can do something about the lighting here, because it's absolutely awful for basically showing information. So let's get out that way there, and let's do something about this as we look at the contents here and basically kill the lights. One more. There we go. There, that's so much better. Yeah, I just had to reach up above my head and actually turn off my overhead studio lights in. I'm actually working on my off my drawing board lamp over here, so we don't get an intentional glare. But it gives us enough light to walk through this. As you can see, it's basically standard White Dwarf contents there. Dogs of War. It's going to be the primary thing here. Games Social News. That's Paul Sawyer and Jean Paul there, basically. So let's turn on the page here. Oh, there's basically the really amazing, cool Adrian Woods Orc Dreadnought. We'll get to that. When we get to it. Let's turn the page. Okay, so it's basically the news here. As it's the US edition, we don't have the usual amount of basically White Dwarf blocks here. It's just the way it is. I'm not sure why the US one never featured the US guys. I guess it's just a thing. 40k. It says new Warhammer 40k released this October. Remember, this is a September edition. We don't know about 40k yet. The 40k issue will drop, and I'm afraid to say I might not be able to find a copy of that to basically go through the mill, but I do hope we do, because there's a lot of fun stuff happening in that. New releases of Spectacle 5. Female Commissar was a Games Day release at the US Games Day, and there's basically bits and pieces news is coming up. Set loose the Dogs of War. I can see fantastic Dogs of War bits and pieces going on here. We have the Dogs of War set, basically the Bronzinos, Galloping Guns, some Dragonlords, Dwarf stuff, all the kind of fun bits and pieces that really made from Dogs of War, making for a very interesting Regiments of Renown's release for Dogs of War, for Warhammer armies. Now, we're probably looking at some of the differences here. First off, basically, Paul Sawyer was in the United States for Games Day. So basically, this is a feature purely about Paul eating pizza in Baltimore and various other bits and pieces. Yeah, one for those foodies there. Guy there, that's actually Nigel Stillman. Let's get into Mindscapes. Again, that'd be a US specific thing. And we turn over the page one more time. Big double page spread for Warhammer 40k, available October 5th. Please remember, again, this is the September issue. A Warhammer 40k release will be handled in White Dwarf 226. Yeah, 226. Which we'll basically be featuring sometime in the next couple of weeks. Going to run through this very quickly, because this is basically pulling copy from 226. Fat Blokes presents the Dogs of War. I actually laid this article out. I remember this completely, specifically doing this. I also took that picture there for the Dogs of War Army book, of all things. So basically talk about this. Let's talk about the Dogs of War, what they are, who they are, anytime place, who the mercenaries are, why they're important, and basically why it explores Italia and Estalia in terms of basically army regiments. It's just a way of bringing colour to your armies and giving you a nice feel to what you're trying to do with things. Bozino's Galloper Guns. I actually really love these. Look at these. They're so period beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. The Dogs of War brought a class of miniatures from the Perrys, which we hadn't seen for some time, because they basically lent back to the historical roots here. And basically, the Bozino's Galloper Guns love these miniature sets. And then Marksman of Magliano. Lots of the mangled Spanish and Italian went into the Dogs of War pieces. I was actually asked on X which came first. Was it the miniatures or was it the army? I can tell you this now: the army came first, but there was some leaning towards this, because basically the Dogs of War were once originally going to be called Regiments of Renown, but we'll save it for the Dogs of War video. This is basically talking about a lot of the Arsenal, the Dragon Lord. Nobody ever got that joke, Arsenal. Long John's Pirate Slayers. These are basically going through the Dogs of War regiments that you're seeing there. I can tell you once again from experience, a lot of these pictures were taken by me. Luciana Balladana, Hireling Sorceress. Her beauty had broken empires. Chris Fitzpatrick did a good job in the miniature, but I couldn't quite grasp the beauty of the miniature. At the time, we had a kind of Bretonian sorceresses, and they were absolutely beautifully sculpted. So then basically it's got a bit of a piece there. It talks about poisonous items, and basically Belladonna, she's actually a poisonous as well. And we have the Mercenary General, fantastic Mercenary General. This is so Renaissance in terms of basically the way the character looks. To know on the page here, the Alicante Fellowship. They were the good guys that basically I think they worked for. Basically, you could pay them in cheese or goats if you wanted to. Bjorg Basuk and the Bearmen of Oslo. I thought these were really cool in terms of basically their origins. I was actually a little disappointed by the miniatures myself, but you know, it is what it is. I think the miniatures could have been more characterful, a little bit more individual than they were. The whole axe in one area thing is just very chaos, more order to me, I thought. Again, we now go on to a issue 7 Warhammer Monthly. The Warhammer Monthly is basically, I told you again about these Black Library adverts. They were so huge in terms of file resources. We actually added them to the magazine last because of the files, because they were completely and utterly built in Photoshop. It's like they never heard of Quark Express at that time, which was our primary desktop publishing program. The Dreads. The Dreads. Oh my gosh. I don't know if we can really talk about this too much, because this is going to be basically a 226 content. But I can tell you now, these were scratchbooked by Mr. Wood for the new orcs. At this time, when me and Adrian were playing 40k 3rd edition quite a lot, as we was at the printers or that kind of thing. We were basically, and he did some beautiful, amazing conversions here. They're actually almost buildable and affordable in terms of metal at that time as well. I'm not going to leap into this too much, because this might be some 226 content here. But these are actually great little box sashes, and they actually influenced the design of the Dreads going forward. Adrian got a real good handle on these guys here. Trade sales recruitment for GWS. Again, they have basically the same lifespan as trade sale employees at in the UK version. Okay, Mordheim, City of the Damned by Thomas Pound. Let's see what we've got going on here. This might be it's okay. So basically, we're talking about the weapons and pieces here in Mordheim, City of the Damned. At this time, we were having a full-blown Mordheim campaign in the UK studio. We still, as you see, basically we've actually got a name of the city now, which we didn't really have too much of before, and we were basically just establishing this as the skirmish game, the Necromunda for Warhammer. Special words about Mr. Webster, that kind of thing. Really, really well done. Thomas really got into the nitty gritty of this, and fantastic there. You also notice basically we didn't have a comic book thing going on here. I'm not too certain if we're basically seeing content from 223 here. The Reichlanders do look very familiar from 223, so we probably are mixing and matching, and that's basically where it is. In here we've got some card for basically the first prototype of the Battlefleet Gothic game. There'll be some rules in here as well, and we've got some Dungeon Bowl card in here as well. I forgot these were in here actually. Here's some talk about the Possessed. These pictures were basically the US versions of the Possessed figure, which I think were better than some of the UK ones. Talk about the Witch Hunters, the same thing here. Took a lot of inspiration from some 40k stuff. As you can see, they're using down here, you can see they're basically using Warhammer Quest figures as some of the characters, which is another good use of basically Mordheim and how open-ended it could have been. Here was the Skaven. Skaven appeared. Yes, the Skaven. Of course, the Skaven were going to appear in Mordheim. I think they were fantastic for the role. Didn't quite agree with them having rat ogres there, though. That's just me, though. And here we go. We have the second cartoon strip to ever appear in White Dwarf since the death of, I think, Derek the Troll was the last time cartoon strip was set before. Basically, did the Mordheim ones. I can't remember how many of these actually appeared. I know they did appear in the primary rulebook. I think they were an interesting side development. Basically, brought an interesting character feel to it. They didn't really have much to do with Mordheim. I always basically say they had very much look this piece here. Very much here a Bad Company feel to it there. You know, when 2000 AD, Bad Company was basically a group of future guardsmen, one for a better word, and basically were like the oddities, the Bad Bunch, the Dirty Dozen type fighting in the future war. And that very much reminds me of a Bad Company illustration there from 2000 AD. And in fact, let's look at this art by Simon Colby. I wonder if he actually had anything to do with Bad Company in 2000 AD. It's got a very 2000 AD feel to it, this comic strip has. Spaceship Battles, work in progress by Andy Chambers. Yeah, Battlefield Gothic basically. We were starting playtesting this as well. We were given a piece of wood down about yay long, and some metal casting pieces to basically stick onto it and basically build our own battleships. And we basically had at it. It was interesting to say the least. And I think, oh god, I can see my main screen so I can see exactly what I'm pointing at now. And it was interesting to say the least. It was definitely a good start to the game. It was about time we had to return to Spaceship Battles. I think that's a very nice thing to use in 40k. And I enjoyed the playtesting for this. There we go. Bit of gunnery charts, turning sequences, lock-ons. That pretty much the dice stayed the same, which was good. I think it was Andy Sharman. Is that Andy Sharman now? I think that's Andy Sharman. And basically, you can see some of the top downs of actually some. Is that one of the miniatures? Is that a conversion? I can't remember. I think it was a conversion to make that destroyer. And we keep scrolling through. Wind Andy's spaceship. Oh my gosh, this one of them just said. Basically, these were a. Let's see if we can get a bit closer to the camera so you can see it. There we go. Back, forward. And to the side, this side. Okay, fantastic. See that battleship there? That was basically a wooden stick in the middle there with bits of metal stuck to it and other bits of stuff from Epic 40k stuck to it as well. Yeah, we were really basically just really scratch building these things from a piece of wood. They were fantastic. Who was this? This is actually based on Jez Goodwin's design concepts, Righteous Endeavour, Andy's first playtest ship. That was actually one of Andy Chambers' ships there. These were the first playtests. Over playtest ships, we got like small. I think these actually may have came from the original Battlefleet Gothic quick release game. Remembers that back? It came back in the early 90s. You played it by throwing dice into into the top of the box. I think it might be carryovers from that. I don't like. They're called staunches, I think. Into Warhammer Fortress with expense, so a little more card stock to go through there. Oh, it's a bit bent up over here. You can tell my archiving skills back in the day were terrible. Okay, Dungeon Ball by Jervis Johnson. How to play Dungeon Ball. This is a fun thing. I think we've seen this in 223, so we're going to skip quickly through it. Space Marine Chronicles, designed by Jez Goodwin. We'll cover this in 226. Really, this is going to be a very, very short video, all things considered, because I do not have the UK version of 225, which had a lot more stuff in it. That wasn't 40k. Actually, it was 40k, but basically second. No, actually, no. We pretty much phased out 40k second edition by this point, and we basically leaned very heavily into Dogs War. There's lots of Dogs War content that actually didn't make it into this piece here. US information, store openings, more US and Xanadu, basically more stuff there. Great pictures. Nice little section there. 1998 open competition winners for Golden Demon. Look at that. That's a beautiful tree, man. That's fantastic. Some great conversions there. Nice little bits and pieces. I'm at all the art that people can put on these toy soldiers. I really am. I'm very much a base coat, shade and highlight type guy. and my shading is ink and my highlighting is dry brushing. So these are beautifully done. I just don't have the patience for it, and I'm a war gamer, not a miniature painter. Beautiful toy soldiers. So look at them. Look at these. These are gorgeous. Oh, look at that. Look at that Demon Zinch. Wow, that's so neat. And then basically we cover how to paint orc biggins. Yeah, they were biggins. They were weird miniatures, weren't they? They didn't even actually rank up very well unless you put them at a certain angle, and they never faced in the right direction. But hey, it's how to paint them. And actually a nice little painting guy. We didn't do enough of these, I don't think. I still don't think we do enough of these even now. Gareth Hamilton, Tournament Junkie. This is, he's a US guy. So, he plays a lot of tournaments, and it's another US-centric article, which is great, because I love the fact that basically US-centric, we had regional articles for regional people. That made a great difference in making these white dwarfs more personal to the country they were sold into. I really wish I had a 225 UK version though. Okay, more of a pieces there. Nice Sisters of Battle Army. There's the Men at Arms. How did they get around calling those again? I'm trying to remember. Sisters of Battle Army, and these guys were. They got around basically. They were not allowed Men at Arms because of a religious revolt back in like the Millennium 39 or something like that, and. These are militia, church militia, I believe. So, and Fortresses of the Warhammer World. Yep, that's me. I was given a bunch of sketches, and I got told to sit down and basically write, how each fortresses in the Warhammer world look different. Yes, I had to sit down and think about, look through a lot of historical information, look at race archetypes, and basically go. Okay, how would an orc build a castle? What would an empire fortress? Empire fortresses are very square, very Germanic in their construction, very Anglo. So basically, we talk about how they were sturdy and building good foundations using top of a hill. Orc fortresses were basically, orcs don't create. They basically just ramshackle stuff. So they basically would take a fortress and make it their own. Everything would be ramshackle and half built, but somehow this worked because they were orcs. And these are basically bits and pieces talking about. I think that picture came from Warhammer Siege there. That's the classic volcano background. There's the Alp Castle. Bretonnian castles were flowing and beautiful, so to speak. how Skaven forts look, what Skaven forts looked like at the time, and that's basically a cut down picture of Nigel Stillman's returning castle, which unfortunately he never built, but did put the pieces together to make it. I actually got credited and basically congratulated by a couple of sales team for basically writing this article, so because it basically gave people an emphasis to basically buy the Mighty Fortress and actually build their own bits and pieces. I particularly like my description of Skaven forts, so basically there was just like, it's just like an iceberg. What you see at the top is just basically the tip, so to speak, and if you go further down, the worse it gets. Then we go into Call of the Wild. I'm trying to remember if this is an article from White Dwarf Australia, or basically a US-centric one. Dave was still with us, US-Australia, I think, at that time. Sorry, Australia, GW. So, there we go. Oh, there's an old Silver Helms take a higher fortress type picture. That's actually from the old 2nd edition High Elves book. No. I want to get this right. 4th edition High Elves book. Yes, 4th edition. I've got to get this right in my head. There's so many editions out there. Beastman Stockade. This is basically him talking about his Beastman. I believe this is probably this definitely is White Dwarf Australia article brought into a US one. I'm not sure if this actually appeared in the UK one, unfortunately. But it was actually a good way of basically showing how to build things out of basically junk. And we never talked about this enough, which is just a sad shame because we should have. And we talked about the Lord's Horde here and that kind of thing, and basically Bretonnians. And it's a siege game. It's more or less a siege game. So that was kind of fun there. Oh, this one's stuck together. Oh no! Oh good lord! This is my store. I say I didn't know these actually were stored in like file boxes underneath my Lego City, just so you know. So that's why they kind of jumped up. And I've not really opened these up for. Well, I don't think this has been opened up for almost 20 plus years. Anyway, this is Jungle Fever 2. Oh my god, look at me down there. Oh my gosh, look at me. I am so young. Oh my gosh, no facial hair, no nothing. So much potential. There's my scribbled. I want to show you how my plan for putting this together. Here, my mad plan is basically building it on the cheap, and this is my Lizardman Castle completely built out of corrugated cardboard. Yes, I built stuff out of stuff you could find in the dumpster, because let's face it, that's where those gamers would find our bits and pieces. Basically, I talk about how building the walls and sticking these pieces of cardboard together and using hot glue and covering the gaps up with basically masking tape, or you call it artist tape over here in the US. And basically just building these fortifications and making them worked and basically hooked together. That's the towers there. They worked in a certain way. The doors were made out of basically cocktail sticks stuck together and painted. Finishing the walls with overgrowth. As you can see again, there's the return of the orange coal. Yeah, sorry there. This is how I knew from last issue that the water feature was mine. We painted the walls with a mix of PVA glue, that's white glue, with sand mixed into it, and a little bit of bleach, added a bit of extra texture to it. So wear a mask if you ever try that combination yourself, by the way. And you painted the walls and just let them dry. It actually made the walls a little bit stronger as well, which is really, really good for the survivability on the battlefield. I try to make it as overgrown as possible, looking at old Mayan structures. The glyphs here were basically a present from Alan Merritt, who basically gave a bunch of glyphs to put on these were made for other bits and pieces for the Lizardman stuff. It was fun. The stone door was basically a cut-off tab, I believe, from an old Mighty Fortress I had. I actually had the polystyrene Mighty Fortress, and that tab there was the doorway. That basically you had to punch out to basically put the actual plastic doorway in. So that's where that came from. You keep all your pieces, my friends. You know, unfortunately, also that means you'd be hoarding a lot of polystyrene. That makes just that White Fortress or something like that. And this is basically building stuff from basically nothing, basically from junk. And that gives you basically this one of my water features. So you may have seen it in the last White Dwarf there. The lily pads were basically beer bottle tops, but I couldn't call them beer bottle tops. I just had to call them bottle tops. But these were from I was drinking Budweiser. No, was it Budweiser? No. I want to get this right. I want to make sure I was drinking. Well, I'm trying to remember what I was drinking. I think it was. Oh, good lord! Oh, it'll come to me. It was an ale from up north. It'll come to me eventually. I'm going to do our shout out at random as we go. But these are bottle tops taken from there, some frog pieces I had, and there's the full fortress there. Yeah, it came together quite nicely. You can see my water feature there, which I built for basically. Well, actually, I built it for this kind of thing, and it came together quite nicely. It was a nice little thing with my burials in the background there. I liked it. It came together. It's the weird thing about Lizardman fortresses is basically I based it off the Mayan fortresses. So Mayan survey had a really weird relationship to fortifications. They like built a huge wall around the city, then you left a big gap in it once. This is designed to be at the end of the table, so basically you're supposed to imagine there's an entire fortress going off behind there. This was fun to do. I think I only ever used it once in a game, and I think I ended up donating it to playtesting once I left the UK for the US. To know the players, Gorka Marker, still one of my favorite skirmish games. We were heavily influenced by Sales to be. Actually, Sales took over the releases for the studio. At this time, they insisted on this Gorka Marker playable game. I think it was going to be Warmaster. It was going to be Warmaster. The Warhammer version of Epic was going to be released instead of this. But they wanted a fast-moving miniature game, so we gave them a fast-moving miniature game, and they Sales overcooked it, flooded the stores with lots of products which didn't sell because there was limited appeal to orcs. Unfortunately, as much as I enjoy playing orcs, I understand there's limited appeal. There's like two gangs, the Walkers and the Gorkas, and that's really about it. And even when the Digger stuff came out, you still only had Digger Knobs, the Muties, and the Black Gobos. So you were kind of left with basically not a lot of features to play with, not very expandable, because once you got the buggies, that was it. The sets, the kits were basically kind of overpriced a little bit there. It wasn't really thought through, but it was basically the time the studio was taken over by Sales, and basically brought a sales mentality to the studio, and basically I think some things suffered because of that. Here we go again. Here, another Black Library ad. Yeah, we already talked about those. Inferno was a good, interesting book, though. I think we should have really made this a magazine format like 2000 AD instead of like the 6x9 it was done in. And I think that would have made even better. But it was a good format, great tales, and some great stories. And basically, this is the birth of the Black Library, my friends, where you get all those wonderful Horus Heresy books from there. Cry Havoc! Raid on the Villa da Vinci. This is a pure Dogs of War stuff, where basically the patrons take on Jean-Paul Bizzigotti and basically fight them off. Here we go. Beastlord Gratog's Colvin. This is Jean-Paul Bizzigotti's beautiful Beastman army. He painted some real nice miniatures here. And this is Borgo, the Besiegers Mercenary Army. This is the studio's Dogs of War army. I never quite agreed that Dogs of War being an army in themselves, because they really were just supposed to be like separate regiments of renown, so they didn't really fight that too effectively together, I didn't think. Also, there's the famous patrons, Alan Perry and Michael Perry. I'll tell you this right now, just so you know, if you ever got in a conversation with these guys, you're basically talking to them as one person. They would start and finish each other's sentences, or finish and start each other's sentences. It was confusing as heck. Sometimes when I had a conversation, I remember talking to them about basically castles once, because I was trying to basically find a different word for parapets, and we basically came up with the word of chronolations, which is basically the bits that go up and down, up and down, up and down. Up and down, like that. And so that's actually a very fun conversation I had with him. But it was like 50 minutes of confusion. Because Alan would say something, then Michael would finish it off, and then Michael would say something, and Alan would finish it off, and it's like they really are the proverbial twins in that area. Fun little battle report. Again, battle reports are not fixed. Just remember that. Nice little V formation picture there, which is very important when showing the armies. This is a anime and a movie trick as well, by the way, just so you know. Battle report keeps going. I can't remember what happened in the end here, but it was fun. I give it that. The Perry Twins are fantastic gamers, but more historical in nature than actually anything else. I think they forward it as the army's historical army. Ungor got to be avenged, and the marksman slain 3 for the loss of 1. He won Ungor. And it was nice. A nice little battle report. All our battle reports were very nice. Give you an idea how the game mechanics worked, how new armies worked in this game mechanics, and how people played in different styles. Not too challenging to put together as an army either. It's a very relatable army. And victory, the Beastmen do win over the Perry Twins, but the Perry Twins were much more. After we say the Perry Twins, they were historical gamers, and frankly, that's how they play their games, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Jean-Paul Bizzigotti was a great guy. I think he started a World War II wargaming company. I can't remember its name, unfortunately. Is it Bolt Action, or is that you getting confused with the Warlord game system? Anyway, and we go into mail order here. Again, this is GW mail order. So, but you start to see the return of bigger images here. So I'm thinking I took over into the UK 225 from Adrian Wood. And so there's the mail sections, and I started bumping up the sizes of toy soldiers, because that's very, very important, my friends. Basically, the bundle sales for basically GWS mail order. Bits and pieces. Oh look, and here's the glyphs. Warhammer Siege. They finally started selling these glyphs, which I'm not sure how well they did, but it was actually fun to see them finally selling these things that I was actually using as my scenery. Thank you to Alan Merritt for basically getting these things made for me at the time. I had no idea they were going to be sold, but if you can find these are great senior pieces to add to your Lustria campaign. So basically some old one stuff. More mail order bits and pieces here. I did actually end my career at Games Workshop working for Games Workshop US, but this is not the time I was there. Warhammer Magic, the game of card, and we finish off with basically the big screen. Huge picture of the Dogs of War, the Leaning Tower of Piazio, I believe that was called. And there's an anecdote I would tell here. Actually, yeah, I'll put an anecdote here. We had a hell of a time making this green Mediterranean green. In fact, basically we had loads of arguments over it, and we drove the Repro house that was doing the reproduction for printing for that stuff. Absolutely crazy trying to get it right. So that green there is not the natural green the board is, just so you know. But these was fun little picture here. I can't remember who took this picture. I think actually looking at it, this might be an Anthony Bath picture. Yes, it was. Yes. So that's that. So that is White Dwarf 225. This is again the US edition, not the UK edition. So there's going to be some differences between the two. I don't have a UK version of this magazine. My archive is a little sporadic to say the least. I'm still trying to find bits and pieces. 226 in the UK is the Warhammer 40k 3rd edition release. It features Black Templars, and I think you get a free Dark Elder miniature on the front of it. I get plastic miniature, I think, if I can remember it rightly. I'm still trying to find that at White Dwarf first time. I know I've got it somewhere. I've just got to find it. But that is White Dwarf 225. There, that's the complete shebang. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get this right, below. I don't know, one of the two. The comments below. Give me your thoughts. I had a great time replying to a lot of your comments for White Dwarf 224. Let me know if you'd like to see some more of these things, or if you'd like me to see me basically do walkthroughs of other products I touched. For example, Dogs of War itself here, which we are going to be talking about in lieu of me not being able to find 226. So the next White Dwarf video will be White Dwarf video, and other gaming things will be about Dogs of War. It's going to be a placeholder and trying an experiment to basically touching other products I had an influence in designing or building. We may even go into the Warhammer 3rd edition rulebook after we do 226 once I locate it. I hope I can find it. If not, I'll basically see if I can find something online and we can walk through it that way. So there we go. That is it. I want to thank you all again for basically tuning in this far. I know my ramblings can be a bit weird sometimes, and I know I'm trying to keep these videos at least under 40 minutes so you can hang with me, especially since some of you will be getting constant adverts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for everybody basically listening to my last White Dwarf 224 one, and please check out my White Dwarf 223 and 222 and 221 walkthroughs. That's a combined video. That's when I first start talking about this kind of stuff. And once again, thank you to Ben of 90% Geek for basically inspiring me to basically look back into my past, into these old magazines, and basically give you a little bit of a behind the scenes look of how and why these happened. Next up will be 226 after we finish Dogs of War. And whilst that's going on, I will still be working on my comic books here. It's the Night Guardians. And basically, living the best life I can. So for now, I wish you all a fantastic day, and play well. Bye.